Hi, welcome back to my channel, Single Mom on a Farm. So glad you're here. And if you are new to my channel, then I'd recommend you watch my story first because this is going to be the sequel to it. I've gotten so many questions about how I got a loan without a job. And then it's like the number one question I get, how to get a loan without a job, and then also what are the logistics into moving with 10 kids and selling our stuff and driving the U-Haul and hotel stays and stuff like that. So I'm going to tell you the answers to those because I've been spending a lot of time emailing each person individually. Thank you so much for watching my story. I am just floored by all the views that it got. I had no idea I would. And for all the nice, sweet, sweet comments and for the questions. I am just thrilled that I've been able to inspire people to go after their dream home. And I hope you do. I know it'll come true for you. A quick disclaimer about the title. My oldest son said, why don't you do a video about how you bought your dream home? And so that's what I'm gonna do and title it that. But it's not my dream house. So if you're thinking extravagant, over the top, everything I ever wanted in a house, it's not that. It's not a dream house, but it's a dream home, as in my property has everything I wanted and the location, the weather, it's exactly where I want to raise my family. So I'm thrilled about that and love that it is a dream come true for me. And hopefully someday we will be able to update the house better and remodel it. We've done a lot already. You can check that out on my blog. All the updates we did, especially our first year, just to make it a little bit more livable. It's very, very outdated and not quite my style. So we are gonna turn it into our dream home. Anyway, so the questions that I get the most are, how did you afford a loan or a house? How did you afford a house or get a loan, approved for a loan when you don't have a job? And the second one is the logistics of moving care. So for the first one, I just want to go back really quick and explain how we got our first two loans for houses. When we moved to Dallas, Texas for my husband to do medical school, then we got an apartment there. After 6 months, the rent was going up from $610 to $630 a month. And we said, hey, we can't afford that. And they said, well, this is what we do every 6 months, we're going to raise the rent. And so we said, we better get into a house. He had gotten a stipend. He was getting a stipend for, it was $18,500 a year, and it was going to just stay a flat rate. It was going to be an MD PhD program for about 8 years. He happened to finish it in 7, but so we said we better just get a house for that. And so we started calling some different loan officers. They were like, honey, we're not going to approve you for that. On that income, we would never approve you, or we would never do that to you to let you get a house on that little of money. And I thought, well, we're trying to save money by getting into a house and not having such a high rent. And every 6 months, it's just going to go up. At least the place that we were at, maybe other places would be like a year. It would increase, but whatever. But we finally found a loan officer that would let us get a house. And so we got it. I'm trying to think what, I just forgot what I was going to say. He let us get it with 0 down payment because we didn't have any savings. So they did. They approved us for this loan with no down payment. And we found a little $54,500 house outside of Dallas in a city called Irving, Texas, and it was great. So I knew we could do that. And then our next house was kind of a similar story, but we were affiliated with the medical school or the residency program through the hospital. And so we got a realtor that was affiliated with them too, and her bank that went with it. And so the banks just approved anybody who's there for residency to get a loan with a 0 down payment. So we were able to get those 2 loans kind of easily. They, worked out. We always knew it was cheaper to get a mortgage than pay for rent, especially when we're going to have children. We had the 4 kids in Texas. We wanted the backyard and a neighborhood with sidewalks and stuff like that, not being right in Dallas in an apartment. And then in residency, we also just wanted a house. Even though we thought it would only be for 3 years, I'm really glad we bought the house because it ended up to be 9.5 years. It was great. We didn't really make money off of either house. The first house we'd gone into debt to we'd put a new roof on it, and then we didn't have to, but we finally put in central air and heat because it didn't have any. And after a couple years of not having it and being pregnant, especially for the summer, they were just way too hot to not have any air conditioning. We had just a 1 window unit. It was just not enough. So we did have some credit card debt that we needed to pay off. So we pretty much, any money that we made on the house went to that. But that's, you probably don't care about that. So they weren't great financial investments or anything, but at least we got our money back and made a little extra from both houses. So at least, if we'd been renting that whole time, we wouldn't have gotten anything back. It all been sunk into it. So I've always believed that buying is the best option. Even if you end up sinking some money into it. We've replaced roofs and remodeled a bathroom and done some things like that. It's still definitely been worth it. Even if we lost money, I just love being in a house with a yard for children. So when we're renting in Utah, then I really wanted to buy a house, and I knew I couldn't afford one there. That's very expensive, and I knew that it's not my style of living. Like, I wanted to be out in the country, and I didn't want freeways and the traffic and quite such a big population. And I also loved the South. We lived in Texas, North Carolina for so long that I really wanted to come back to the South with a lot of rain and green, and especially the Appalachian Mountains are my favorite. So I had told the story about how I found the house, and I had also, before I had found the house, when I was looking for houses, I was calling loan officers and asking, would it be possible for me to be approved for a loan, and explaining my situation, how I was getting some child support and alimony, but I didn't have like a regular income. I was babysitting some and some tutoring, and I like to run some nature camps where I invite kids, and each child pays $40, and so if you have several, you can earn like $100 or more in one day, and they come and I take them out to the woods or and do that. I can explain that in a different video, but so I was earning some money here and there, but nothing steady. And they also just keep 6 months worth of the child support checks, and that should be good. And some just said flat out no, like, no, I wouldn't approve you for a loan, you'd never qualify, or almost each loan would say that if you had a cosigner that they would approve me. So at least I had hopes of that. So I knew that I could get my parents to cosign with me if I needed that. But I really wanted to do it myself. I was 40 years old, and I knew that I could always be paying the mortgage, and if not, I would ask for my parents for some help. So several said no, and I narrowed it down to 2 people that were saying yes, that they would. And one was a local place. I kind of wanted a local place because I thought that they would understand my story a little bit better, where I just said that I'm paying $2,500 a month here in Utah, and so any house that's cheaper than that, I'll be able to pay. I've been there for several years and been able to pay it, and I had excellent credit and everything. So I really liked this local place, and then the other one is Rocket Mortgage. And the local place kind of ended up just not returning my calls anymore, but the Rocket place kept calling and trying to move the process forward even more, even before I bought a house. And so I ended up going with them. And they're not local, but they understood my reasons for wanting a house, and they were happy to approve me. I did have excellent credit, like I said. I don't know of anything else that would have helped me get the loan, but they were fine with the 6 months worth of child support checks that I just took a picture and sent to them. So I went with them. If that answers that question, I'm trying to think what other questions I've been getting about that process of getting the loan. It's always difficult, to keep moving things forward. I did have like a 5% down payment for the first time ever. They did require that. I had asked them to the 0%, and I don't think they had any programs like that for me. It's kind of disappointing that I couldn't find any single mom programs or farm programs or rural living. Maybe I didn't look hard enough or anything. I hope that there's some out there to help people like me who are trying to get into a cheaper place to live and a better place for their children, and don't have either the down payment or the income, but they're still able to make it by it. And I wish that they'd have your debt to income ratio or something like that, or your money you spend on things, because it's not just all about the income. I don't have a very big income, but I don't spend any money, and I don't have cable bills. I didn't have any debt, like car loans or anything. But mainly we just don't spend money on clothes. We're cheap with all of our household essentials. We don't go to hotels or trips, or, we don't really do anything like that. So pretty much our only bill is the mortgage. So I knew that even if I only made $1,500 a month and my mortgage is $1,200, I can kind of scrape by on that, because this house is, we heat with wood stove, and So, you know, the heater bill is really low. And then we don't have central air, so we just have a window unit that we put in like July and August. And that's also, our electric bill is really cheap. We don't have a water bill because we have well water, and the water was pretty expensive in Utah since you had to water your grass all the time. So I think that's all for like our bills that we need. And then yes, we are on food stamps, which I know that bothers some people too. But it's been a huge blessing. I might as well just mention it right now that because we can't like spend any money on anything, like even clothes, like toothpaste is just kind of stressful. You're like squeezing out the very, very last drop, trying not to spend any money on anything, to have to buy any more. And shampoo, Ziploc bags, you know, you're like using them over again, and plastic wrap, you just like try not to use, put everything in containers instead of using plastic wrap. When things break, like a doorknob, we have like a doorknob broken right now on one of our doors. It's like, we just can't afford anything. So it's like, don't buy anything. So it's really nice to be able to have something we can spend money on, and that is food. So they give us just enough, you know, like not an extravagant amount, but enough that we can buy good, healthy food for our family and have a little bit of money to splurge sometimes. So instead of like going to an ice cream place, then we can buy ice cream at the store and plenty of toppings, you know, just like for a birthday party or something like that. We have a little extra for that. Anyway, and then maybe that should be on a different budget video. So where was I about the house? So I was able to convince them that, you know, I'll be able to pay the mortgage, and I didn't have to have a cosigner, and about the down payment. So this is where a huge blessing came through with the COVID stimulus money. I think there was like 3 stimulus packages, 2 or 3 that winter. Like I think there's like a January one and like an April one. And so I got some of it. I didn't get all of it. My ex-husband kept some, but it was like $1,400 a person or kid. So that's what I used for the down payment. And then I also sold our 12-passenger van, and was able to use that for it. And then we started selling our stuff to afford the U-Haul, because we wanted to get the smallest U-Haul possible, because even if you just got like one size larger, it was like $1,000 more. And then plus there's gonna be extra gas and stuff. So I sold like my water bed and like the heavy things that wouldn't fit. And kids' toys and our trampoline and things that were gonna be too big to fit in. So that's hopefully answers your questions. Let me just think through real quick and see. I think we got the down payment covered with the stimulus money. I mean, it was like down to very little money, and I actually had to take all my kids' money from their bank accounts or their little piggy banks and put it in my bank to show that I had enough money. And then, and they were kind of heavy with all that change anyway, so it's just lighten it up and make it easier. So I should put all their money in my bank account, because that needed to be there like by April or May before we closed on the house in June. So I did, you know, it was very tight. So I was just like hoarding every penny of the babysitting money, every money that I could get, and showing it that was in my bank account and not spending a single thing, which is nice because you don't need to spend money when you're moving anyway. We were eating up all of our last food. It had been COVID before, so like, you know, we hadn't been really buying clothes or needing anything like that anyway. So I'm just rambling, but that's how we barely had enough. And then after we moved here, you know, you have to have like the down payment, and then you have to have like your first and last, or like 2 or 3 months worth of mortgage in the bank. So as soon as we moved here, I was able to pay my kids back. So don't worry. It was, you know, I'm talking like $300 or $400 each. So I was able to pay them back. And it was my older kids anyway that had any money. That's how I made it work. So hopefully that answers your questions. And the other question I was going to answer is how we moved here, or how we figured it out. So we on Friday morning, it was like the very last day of public school, and I had some kids going to orchestra in public school. So we went and picked up the U-Haul, me and Madeline, who was 19 at the time, and we went and got the U-Haul like at 8 a.m. as soon as it opened. And when we got back to our house, then there was already, the neighbors were there. They were just going to load the piano in the morning and then come back that night and load up the rest of the stuff. But we had everything just already packed in our garage, just stocked full, and it was ready to go. So when we backed up the U-Haul, they put the piano in, and they just ended up like packing everything in within about an hour or two. And then we cleaned the rest of the day, cleaned our house, and packed up the last minute stuff. And then that night they threw us a going away party. Our neighborhood was so sweet. And we stayed at a neighbor's house that night so that we'd already packed our beds on Friday. And we packed separate like backpacks and duffel bags and stuff for our week-long trip to move to Virginia. So we stayed at a neighbor's house. The sweet old couple retired, and they had a big family, you know, all grown up, so they knew what it was like and were very willing to put us up in their basement. And then Saturday morning, bright and early, we drove away. We drove like 6 hours to my brother's house in Wyoming, and I was driving the U-Haul with a couple of the little kids, and Madeline was driving the minivan, and they got lost, so it took them a lot longer. Wyoming is like, you can miss a turn and you're lost for a while. But anyway, so we got to my brother's house, enjoyed staying with them. I went to church with them on Sunday and kind of rested up and got to visit them because I knew it'd be a really long time before we've gone back to their house, and we haven't gone back to their house yet. So I'm glad we got that time. And then Monday morning we drove out like the Bighorn Mountains or whatever they were called, and through South Dakota and to my other brother's house, my little brother in Iowa. And we stayed with him. So that was like a 12-hour drive. And we stayed with him Monday night, and Tuesday, all day Tuesday, we got to visit with him because again, I knew it'd be a while before we got to see them again and visit my nieces and nephews. Went to one of their baseball games, had a good time. And then Wednesday morning, we got up early and drove another 12 hours to Indianapolis. And it was a family we'd never met before. I met them on like a Facebook group for doctors' wives that I'm in, that a lot of people on there are just always asking like, hey, we're gonna go there for interviews, or can I stay with you? Just anybody in this area to stay with. And so I just did the same thing and said, we're gonna be moving to Virginia. Anybody live in Indianapolis that would be willing to put up myself and 9 children. And so I got this really nice family who did have 6 kids. They said they're happy for us to stay. So it was super fun to meet them. I haven't seen them ever since, but they were just awesome family. So we stayed there that night, had dinner with them. So each night we also just had dinner. So like I had dinner at my brother's house. We tried to always get there by dinner time so we could have dinner with them. That would save us an expense and time. And then, you know, leave first thing in the morning and then get to the next house by dinner time. So we got there, had dinner time, slept. And then Thursday morning, got up early and drove all day and got to this house kind of early. I think we made good time. I think it was like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So for breakfast every morning, we just usually put in dry cereal in Ziploc bags, or like crackling oat bran or oatmeal squares or something. Like, I know they're not the healthiest, but it was just like dry cereal or some dry flakes or something, just so that you can eat them in the car. I didn't want to waste time for an hour like eating breakfast with cereal and milk, or, you know, pancakes or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to, we just jumped up and put our clothes on and hopped in the car. And then the kids could eat, and then, you know, it wasted like the whole first hour of your trip because you're just like snacking and talking. And so it's kind of like, and then we always made sandwiches for lunch, which we made those the night before. So as soon as we got to someone's house, we ate dinner. The older kids might shower, or myself, and then we would pack our sandwiches. So everyone just packed another sandwich for the next day. And we brought along the bread and the peanut butter or lunch meat in a cooler bag. And we had some like apples and grapes and stuff like that. So we just brought that for our lunches. We ate them in the car on their drive. Stop at a gas station, wash our hands afterward, and then got to a person's house for dinner. So that was the meal. Someone's asked about the meals, and someone asked about the hotel fees, and so that we never had any hotel expenses either, just by staying with some nice people. And then we got here and left the U-Haul at this house. And piled in the van and drove to like another hour to another person's house I'd never met before. They're also a member of our church that were just willing to put us up. They only had 2 kids left at home. They had a big family with only 2 kids left at home in a big house. So we stayed with them, and they also fed us dinner that night, and we ended up staying there a whole week. So we got there Thursday night. We didn't close until the following Friday because the appraisal wasn't done yet. Not the appraisal. The survey. They had never like figured out exactly where the property lines are because it's 36 acres. So we stayed with them. They were super good to feed us anything that we wanted. But since I still have the food stamp card from Utah, and so with money on it, so I did use that to try to help out. I got frozen lasagna and French bread sometimes just to stick in their oven and not have to, cook too much, but they were super sweet. So, and then contributed, the milk and cereals and the bread and sandwiches and stuff like that. And they also had lunch, school lunches that summer for COVID still. So we would just go to the school and so kind of get out of their house and go to the school and eat lunch and come back over to check on this house, because we were usually like working in the garden. And the owner would show us different things, like all the paints and stuff that he left and what went to what, and how to fix work the water heater, how to work this or that. So we kind of hung out here. Some of those days we went to the library and got library cards even before we bought our house. One of the days, and then some days we did hang out with that family that we were staying with. We didn't want to like impose too much. So that was the week for that. And then the night we moved in, we closed that Friday afternoon and moved right in, and just started unpacking right away. Someone asked about like setting up the beds and everything, and so this actually the bed I'm sitting on was left here by the owners. They didn't need it, so I got a bed. So that was great because I had sold mine, and we were able to get up. We had like a set of bunk beds, but the ceilings are only 6 feet tall, so we couldn't put bunk beds. So we did it had a full on the bottom, so we got that one set up for the girls, and a twin set up for my son in a separate room. We put like the 3 girls on that double bed. I don't know. We figured it out, except I know the downstairs we do have bunk beds because the ceilings are taller, and we didn't get their beds set, the little boys, because we have pictures of them sleeping on a mattress. I don't think we got them put up till like Monday or Tuesday, but they were cool with that. They're just excited to be here. So that's the logistics of just, we were just go-getters really. So you just start unpacking and putting everything away, and we can figure out where if we want things. But I'm not like a minimalist, but I don't like spending super long on cleaning stuff, like taking care of everything, like if you got a lot of toys, you got to keep picking them up all the time. So I was kind of simple of what we have. And we didn't bring a whole lot. So that helped just to kind of simplify things and make it an easier process. And the kids are just awesome workers. You'll notice that in all the videos. We work great as a team to getting things done. So I hope this answered all your questions, and I'm so grateful for y'all caring about me, all the super duper nice comments. You guys have been amazing to ask so many questions and say so many nice things about me. I'm really not any cooler than you guys are. Y'all are awesome too. And I know y'all can do hard things. I know you all go where the Lord wants you to go, and in terms of like either moving or just like being where you're supposed to be with occupations, with choices that you make, education. And I'm so grateful for you. I know that you're doing what's right and that you'll be blessed for it too. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. Hey, I'm just out here picking blueberries. I was thinking about the video that I did last night. I still haven't uploaded it because I need to go to town. We have only like 5 megabytes or something like that for our internet. It's very slow. Someday we'll upgrade. But anyway, so I was thinking about what I said, and it was such a miracle that I bought the house when I did, because if it was any other year, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So that stimulus money was the way that I could do it. And then also, I just know that God needed me to move right then, because like my ex-husband was just like going downhill really fast, and I just felt such an urgency to move at that time. And so it was a huge blessing. So I know the timing was perfect for us. Did you get some blueberries? Yeah. It was a cute girl. All right, thanks. Put them in the bucket. And I know God wanted them raised here and making a better life for ourselves. Oh, also the timing on that is because, my ex-husband was going downhill really fast, and he stopped paying child support and alimony like right after we got here. And so like there's no way we would have been able to come or get into any house without that, and unless I had been able to find a really good job. So it's just so many miracles, lots of miracles. They could have sold the house to somebody who was paying cash, but they chose us. They felt just impressed that we should be the ones to buy the house. I'll write a blog post of all the miracles. So I just know for you to open your eyes, to look for the miracles, pray about the right timing, and your dreams are going to come true too. I just know it. And thanks. See you later. Bye. Okay, not done yet. We're walking over to pick tomatoes. But I thought one more question that everyone always asks me. So then your husband stopped paying child support and alimony, then how do you pay for things now? And so I did look into a lot of jobs. I applied for a lot of jobs in town, and they only pay $9 an hour here. I have a college degree, so I just can't figure that out. And they all want 8 to 5. Nobody wants a part-time job. So I thought of putting them in school. Their school is about 45 minutes away. I just didn't want that life for them. I felt like then we should just move in town and be townspeople. If I'm going to work in town, they're going to go to school. But we moved here for the homesteading experience and the rural life. So I just kept praying and praying, not feeling good about any of those things. So I've just been doing odd jobs. So I babysit a lot, and I do some nature camps. We have our blueberry patch in the summer. We sell eggs year-round. What else do I do? So I've done the blog and some homeschool coaching. So if anybody needs some homeschool or parenting or potty training coaching, then I do that. I mostly write curriculum and sell it on 3 or 4 different websites. So I'm trying to get that to be the main bulk of my income, because I feel like I could write it anytime when the kids are sleeping, or when we're at the park, I can just sit and write. And then, I can just sell something for $1, and if 1,000 people buy it, that'd be $1,000. Of course, like most websites take like 50%, but anyway, so it's been a big struggle. So just kind of like I said earlier, even if I can make $1,500 a month, then we can scrape by. And it's most months I can't even make that, but it's okay. We've had parents been helping a lot, but they just are supportive of my desire to, get this more passive income. And at least for these few years. And so if it doesn't work in a couple years, then I'm fine with going to a town job. I might be like a doula or something, because I had 10 really easy babies. I would love to be a doula. I just didn't want to leave my kids all hours of the night. We only had 1 car. I don't have a driver. I just didn't want to be gone a lot while they're still so little. So maybe when she's bigger. But anyway, that's our plan right now. It's mostly selling curriculum and homeschool coaching, and then the babysitting and the nature schools, eggs, blueberries, we've been cleaning some houses. This whole week we've been helping somebody pack and move. That pays really well. So we've just been blessed every time we need it. A lot of job falls in our lap. And maybe I'll do a whole video about our miracles, because we've had a ton of miracles from being poor. Everyone is so good. God is good, and so many people are just so generous and nice to us. So okay, goodbye for real this time. Where'd my little helper? Did you get any good tomatoes?
Yeah, I got 8.
8, all right. Yummy. They match your shirt. All right, see you later.